and I do a lot of overthinking about the simplest things in wrestling.
Yep.
And so you don't have to do a lot of thinking. Just turn it on, clean your house or cook dinner or something, and listen to us do these thinking for you. And then you can take these ideas, make them your own, and then you be immune to people like Dave Meltzer. We are the cure for Dave Meltzer. We are the GLP-1 for the fat that is Dave Meltzer. Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens. Skeener, it feels weird that we are at a freaking PLE again, but it always feels like this right after WrestleMania because Backlash is literally like 2 weeks away. 2 or 3 weeks away or something like that.
Yeah, three weeks. So
yeah,
wasn't a long breather, that's for sure.
And it certainly was not. And there's so much that has happened in the world of wrestling. Some of it has nothing to do with the programming, but a lot has happened. I never would have suspected that the next time we'd be talking that the New Day would no longer be members of the WWE roster. Mm-hmm. But that genuinely took me a bit by surprise, as I'm sure it did for many of the people who watch WWE programming, as the New Day has generally been a staple of our WWE viewing for well over a decade. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into all of that. We'll get into this Backlash card. We're definitely kind of in that WrestleMania lull space that kind of comes after Mania. But the card looks fun. The matches are going to be good. And I really wish there's something going on with the Roman Jacob feud that I really wish they would kind of lean into. And they haven't done it so far. Maybe they'll do so on SmackDown this week. Then maybe they'll do something with it. But I don't know. I doubt it. But I also have a theory. A really interesting theory that we will get to with regards to Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and a lot of the things that seem to be happening around programming and their interactions that we have been kind of seeing a little bit more of as of late. So we'll get into all of that. But first, Skeener, how are you doing? I feel like you are getting ready to go from here to the other side of the freaking planet really soon. How you doing, man?
Yeah. Oh, good. Just kind of running around, putting the finishing touches on getting prepped for Japan, doing all the things we need to do. International driver's permits, making sure we've got our pocket Wi-Fi devices reserved to pick up at the airport. Money to exchange, all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, you do have to do all that. Mm-hmm. You do have to do all that. I remember when we went to Europe a couple of years ago, and we were in Germany. We had to do the whole money conversion before we went, so that we were able to carry the right currency while we were there. That was an interesting experience. And I think I still have some of that money. Just I kept it as a little keepsake from when we went. But yeah, I forgot about all those things that you have to do to get ready. But you guys are gonna be there for what, like 2 weeks?
11 days.
Okay. So
calendar's gonna say 12, but we lose a day going over because it's a 12-hour flight and a 12-hour time difference. So
yeah,
we essentially lose that day.
Well, dude, look, I can't be more excited for you. I would absolutely love to go to Japan. The food, brother. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear the stories about what you eat. It makes me hungry just thinking about it. But that's cool. Hey, listen, guys, and Skeener has stated that he is not going to miss the Lariat Lounge. So Skeener's going to do something that he doesn't normally do. And that is get up early.
Yeah.
To be here to do this. So, send your thanks through the emails. Send your thanks through Instagram posts, thanking Skeener for, breaking his back over his own knee for the Lariat Lounge, because we do appreciate it. We genuinely do. But, while we're talking about all those things, Skeener, please let everyone know where they can send all of their praise to you for the sacrifice that you are making for the Lariat Lounge.
You know where you're going to catch us, even when I'm in Japan. The Lariat Lounge. It's coming at you once a week every week. You can find us on YouTube. Search the Lariat Lounge. That's where you'll find the podcast in both video and audio format. That's where you'll find all our shows, our PLE live streams, like we'll be live this Saturday for Backlash in Tampa. You can find us over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. Our DMs are open on the story. That's where you'll find our link to the PLE live stream. Feel free to interact with us over there. Go get your merch at prowrestlingtees.com/the Lariat Lounge. 6 awesome designs and some new ones cooking up per creative director Everson. Says he's got some good ideas coming, so be on the lookout there. And as always, feel free to send us an email at thelariatlounge@gmail.com.
All I'm going to say about the idea that I'm working on, if you know, you know, I'm going to leave it at this. Queen, iconic album cover. Leave it at that.
It could be many things.
It could be many things, but there's one in particular that I'm thinking about, and I'm working on. As soon as I get the proofs done, I'll send them to you.
Hopefully we're being mangled by a giant robot is what I would like to see. So
that would be fun. That would be fun. Listen, I'm not going to hint at anything right here. I'm just let you know it's going to be freaking sweet. But yeah, I'm working on that, and hopefully we'll have that out within the next month or so. But thank you guys for hanging out with us as always. We really do appreciate it. And listen, if you are watching us on YouTube, if you are listening through the normal channels, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever it is you're listening, leave us a like rating. It is a small thing for you, but for us, it genuinely means the world. I really do appreciate it. We are so close to surpassing 1,000 unique downloads. We are 22 Skeener unique downloads away from crossing this milestone. I can smell it. So leave us a like rating. I promise we will probably cross this after Backlash weekend. So, thanks in advance to everyone who is listening to the episodes. We typically average between 12 to 14 new downloads a week. So if the PLE is any indicator and you guys are looking for something new to listen to, or you want to bring a family member to listen to something really interesting and fun with some unique takes that are smart and real, tell them to come listen to us. Help us cross our milestone. We greatly appreciate it. But hey, enough with the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. So, Skeener, let's just go ahead and cross this off the list. The New Day have quietly exited WWE. I was alerted to this after the fact, and from what I was able to gather, it seems like they were offered, I guess maybe like last year, a deal was like a 1-year extension to their current deal, which they worked through. They were offered another deal by TKO, another offer by TKO. And I'm not sure if that offer was lower than what they were expecting or lower than what they wanted. From what I heard, there was not a lot of back and forth with that one. I think it's the offer was made, the offer was rejected, and they went their separate ways. But have you heard anything different about that? Any thing further with regards to the New Day situation?
No, that's kind of what I gather.
Yeah.
Is they received an offer, didn't like it, and everyone went their separate ways.
Yeah, it's this is honestly less shocking to me than some people have taken this. And I get it, right? They are a mainstay of WWE. This is less shocking to me because I feel like with the clout that Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston have, the lack of screen time that WWE has given them as of late, and honestly, you do the heel turn, which to me, in my opinion, is one of the better done heel turns in recent memory. And then you come out of that on the other side, and WWE really doesn't do much of anything with you. You know what I mean? Like, they had that little thing going right after the heel turn, but it never equated to any type of big storyline angles. It never led to another world championship run, a tag team championship run. It never really led to anything other than the Grayson Waller angle. And then we were right in the middle of the Javon Evans, Kofi Kingston thing when these negotiations happened and failed, and Woods and Kof exited quietly from the company. So it just did not shock me. It shocked me because the idea that they weren't going to be on programming anymore. But when the story was kind of coming out that they were offered something that was lower than what they had been accustomed to getting, I kind of understood in a sense that TKO is probably not looking at them as a valued commodity. And so, there's likely going to be some renegotiating of how valuable TKO looks at the New Day brand. Mm-hmm. And then honestly, after the whole thing with Truth, it kind of settled me into this space where TKO is really about the money and less about let me rephrase. The depth of their roster is based much more on how profitable the roster is. The New Day is a mainstay, as Truth was a mainstay. And really, the only reason why Truth is back is because the fans had so much to say with regards to his releasing, right? I don't hear the same backlash, pun intended, coming from the WWE universe about Woods and Kof leaving. And honestly, part of me wonders if that's because with Woods and Kofi being such a staple in WWE and the fact that they've pretty much always been with WWE, I wonder if there is a desire to see what a commodity like Kofi and Xavier could do if they went somewhere else, if they did something else. Like, I wasn't as interested in the idea of seeing Ron Killings going to, say, AEW. I don't see them using them in any way that would be interesting to me, just being honest. But Woods, Kofi, and Kenny Omega have had such interesting interactions over the years, just over their love of video games and all the things that they've done online, whether it's cameos on Up, Up, Down, Down, or whether they've done other things around Street Fighter and the Street Fighter tournaments that they've been a part of together. There's just a genuine appreciation and love there for one another from both parties, right? And those interactions are just really fun and really great. And that's what's kind of captured me about that relationship. So the idea of Xavier Woods for sure, right? Austin Creed, his, government, going to AEW and possibly Kofi going with them, and those interactions between themselves and Kenny, I would genuinely tune in and watch a bit of AEW just to see what those interactions would be like.
Well, you'll have to tell me about them
because you are
not just for that. I'll catch it on social media.
Oh yeah.
I have tried to watch that show before multiple times. I've given it multiple chances. Kofi and Woods in 2026 are not going to bring me there. No disrespect to them.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, I'm
with you. I'm less surprised. It was very shocking in the moment when you hear it, but like when you think about it and couple it with, look, they haven't had a lot of TV time for whatever reason. The heel turn did not take off. What if the New Day isn't going to be used as a premier, part of the show going forward? I can see where both sides get to the point where they're like, okay, if you think if the New Day wants a certain value and a certain usage, then go find it elsewhere. And good on them. If they think they still have more to offer, then go see where you can do it elsewhere, and good for them. It's disappointing in a way, but also I would be remiss if I acted like every week we were here on the show, or even I was like, man, I'm really missing the New Day on my screen. And that's not because they're not great, but it's just they had a long, very successful run. And sometimes, even if it hurts, things just end. And it's time, especially in the wrestling business. They'll be back for their Hall of Fame induction and to be with the company later. But if they want to be a featured part of a wrestling show going forward, it was probably in their best interest to go elsewhere.
Yeah, So I agree with you, and then at the very same time, right? There's always there's always two sides of this coin, right? When it comes to professional wrestling as a product, it's hard for me personally, Skeeter, to separate the act from the business that puts the act on, right? I look at Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, The New Day, very similar to the way that I look at Jay and Jimmy Uso. Their histories have been so tied together, right? With regards to the epic legendary feuds that they've had. But I've also seen how the Usos, particularly by way of the Bloodline 1 and Jay Uso to Jimmy Uso, has been the only reason the Usos have been pulled along to the point where that same opinion is not had for them. Now, the New Day essentially have done all of this on their own. They have not had the backing of a huge storyline that was not particularly centered around them to carry them through a period to add a level of relevancy to them in that way. But I do agree with you that there wasn't a part of me that was longing to see the New Day back on my TV, but I don't think that was, in my opinion anyway, I don't think that was the fault of the New Day, because every time the New Day was on my television screen, I found them engaging. I found them fun. When they were mourning the loss of the tag team championships for this extended period of time, and they were wearing the crazy black and all that stuff. That was hilarious. That was great stuff, right? WWE never really wrote them into anything significant going past that. And I think part of that is because currently WWE and their relationship to the men's tag team division is a bit poo-poo. You know what I'm saying? And so the Usos have stayed relevant not because of their tag team stuff. They've stayed relevant because of Jey Uso, because of Roman Reigns and the Usos' connection to the bloodline, right? And Jimmy has been a byproduct of all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the reason why they are still in that relevant spot, in my opinion. And the New Day just have not benefited from having that type of engine pulling them forward. And so when you have a company who does not seem to be really interested in tag team wrestling in that way, to really kind of put it on a pedestal and push it forward, tag teams are going to suffer. You know what I mean? And you're going to see mildly more usage of tag teams that are, I don't want to say mediocre, but tag teams that are around because they need to have some tag team wrestling on their show, and they're the people who are still around. And then you got people who really made their names off of tag team wrestling feel the brunt and the weight of a tag team division that's not being poured into. And so when you have these marquee names in the division, like the New Day, like the Usos, right? They're just going to fall to the wayside. And it's a sad thing. What really sucks, if I will say, if there's anything I think that does genuinely suck though, Skeeter, is the fact that I don't think Woods ever really got the credit he deserved. Like, as far as being a great in-ring wrestler, as far as being a great in-ring personality, he's got the chops to do anything. He's got the look to be on anybody's video game cover. He can cut a promo with the best of them. I think he's just always been pegged as a tag team dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's just where he got stuck. And I was hoping at some point after Kofi Mania, right? After Big E had his title run, right? That Woods would be the next step. And it seemed like at one point they were fleshing out his repertoire of his moves, and they were setting him up to maybe do something in the mid card with an Intercontinental Championship run. And that just,
he did get to be King of the Ring, which was a big goal of his. So
it was,
that was nice. But he was blessed and cursed with being in one of the greatest tag teams and stables of all time, because he's always going to be associated with that, and it's hard to break out of that sometimes.
Ain't that the history of pro wrestling though? Like there have been some legendary tag teams, right? Who are just like marquee staples of wrestling history that never had members of that team that ever had a successful singles run because they were always just the tag team guys, you know.
Io Giannetti, for example.
Oh, that's terrible. That was such a scathing burn. Like, holy smokes.
Well, I love that she did it just because so many people on the internet got so mad about it.
Did they really? You know what? Yeah. I don't even know. I don't know why I even asked that. Like, of course they did. Of course they did.
Like, legitimately being like, this is the company disrespecting Io rather than this is a heel saying heel things.
I thought that was an incredible line. I thought that was a great line to build.
It continues to be great.
Yeah. It was a great way to build some heat for this feud. It didn't necessarily need it. Well, that feud is already kind of come and gone because we've kind of moved on.
I can't wait to give you another internet thing when we get to that match, the Io versus Asuka match.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So, I guess we will touch on the SmackDown and Raw elements of things as we go through this Backlash card. And we can just jump around as we see fit. So this looks like a 5-match card here.
Yep, we got 5 so far.
We got
Io. If we're assuming Danhausen finds a partner.
Look, Danhausen is already. So Danhausen is listed on WWE's list of this card as Danhausen and a mystery partner.
Okay.
So I'm assuming he's going to be.
So they're assuming as well.
Oh yes, of course they're assuming. Of course they're assuming. Danhausen is going to find someone. Now, who is it going to be? That is the question.
I have no idea.
I genuinely have no idea. I have no idea. So we've got Io versus Asuka. Danhausen. It says Danhausen must find a partner against The Miz and Kit Wilson. United States champion Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. Listen, we need to talk about this murder that took place that was unnecessarily shown on WWE programming.
Everything about that was like great pro wrestling. But
it wasn't it? And you know what's crazy, Skeener? When something like that, which we both agree is great pro wrestling, there's always going to be people online. They're going to be like, "This is stupid.
Oh, yeah.
This is stupid. I don't. Why is Sami Zayn beating up a gingerbread man mannequin? And why are we acting like it actually died? And why is Trick Williams selling it like that?"
The same reason everyone's out there in their underwear wrestling around and no one stops running when they get Irish whipped.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like, let's not put the microscope too far on this.
Yeah, you're gonna hurt yourself if you hurt yourself digging too deep there. Mm-hmm. You got Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker, and we've got World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu.
And a giant announcement from John Cena, allegedly.
Yeah, what is that all about?
It's going to be whatever club WWE is.
You know what? For somebody who is retired, I'm seeing more John Cena than I would have seen if he wasn't on a retirement run.
Yeah.
Like,
he does. The dates are about as frequent as they were during the retirement run.
I'm right. Like, no disrespect, John. But aren't you supposed to be, like, not here? Aren't you supposed to be doing something else? Like, I guess he said he's retired from in-ring competition, but he's not retired from WWE. But I'm like, when are they shooting Peacemaker season, like, what is it, 3, 4? Season
are
3,
they? I thought it got canceled, unfortunately, right? Because when I watched it, when my wife and I watched it, I remember us being sad that there wasn't going to be another season.
I don't remember hearing anything about that being canceled.
There are no active plans for a season 3.
So that doesn't mean that the show got canceled.
That just means they're not making it now.
Right. In the grand scheme, and see, this is my little world here of these like comic book adjacent comic book films and movies. This is my world. This outside of wrestling and video games, this is a place I love. So if the show didn't get canceled, what that means is that the story that they've told solo-wise for Peacemaker is probably at a point where whatever they're going to use Peacemaker for next, he needs to stay where he's at, right? So if you watch Peacemaker, what was it, season 2 or season 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
There were only 2.
There was only 2 seasons, right? 2. So when we left Peacemaker, he got dropped off in that dimension right?
Yes.
By Rick Flag's dad, right?
Yeah, so you're thinking he needs to be there for
Whatever
whatever they
story
do with
James
him
Gunn is
next.
going to tell and where they're going to bring him in, he probably needs to stay there. And so if this was a comic book, that run of Peacemaker would have ended. That doesn't mean that
All
Peacemaker is
right,
not coming
that kind of
back.
makes sense.
That's just where they need to leave him to tell the next part of the story. So you scare me for a second. Like if it was canceled, then I
No,
would
it
have been
wasn't.
like, okay, that makes more sense. But okay, so yeah, maybe that's maybe that's why John's around, because he ain't got Peacemaker
Well, he definitely doesn't right now.
he ain't got
so.
Peacemaker to film, so he's back on our WWE programming, which I'm not mad at. But dang, John, this is like WrestleMania hosting, next PLE back again. Listen, if he starts shilling something every time he shows up, I'm gonna start booing Cena from over here.
I'm pretty sure he's going to shill Club WWE.
He's gonna sell more seats at the announce table.
I signed up for the wait list, so whatever it is,
Did you really?
I will get an invitation to join. I'm sure it's something I'm not going to join and pay for, but just in case, you never know.
You let me know whatever it is that shows up there, because I most certainly am not signing up.
We're gonna be here together. Oh, you mean like the cost and whatnot? I will.
Yeah, no, I'm not signing up for Club WWE. I'm not doing that. I don't care what you're offering. I still got to pay. I sign up for Club WWE and you offer me premium seats at some PLE. I still got to pay for the seats at the PLE. So
dedicated entrance.
I'm giving you more money. Like I'm giving you more of my money. WWE, I want to give you less of my money. Okay, I want to give you less of my money. Like I'm giving you money for tickets to shows. I'm giving you money for multiple subscriptions to streaming services, right? I'm giving you way too much money for seats to these PLEs. And Club WWE is another premium on top of that, right? So that I can get a special entrance way to seats I also have to pay for. Listen, if it was a subscription that I was paying
in a lounge where superstars may stop by,
you know what? I don't care. If this was a premium that offered me seats throughout the year, like season tickets for a sporting,
it might.
If that's John's announcement that this is included in Club WWE, I will say I think that is a great deal for some people, and you should definitely jump on that. If you go to shows a lot and you want to, that's probably a great thing to have, for sure. It won't be me, but I can definitely see the value in having something like that. So if John does that, that's great. But if he's shilling something every time we go to a freaking PLE, I'm going to start chanting Cena sucks. I'm going to get that going again. All right. So I don't know the order of these matches here, but I'm just going to go from the bottom to the top as they have them listed here on WWE.com. So Skeena, you have your opportunity to get into the talk that you wanted to tell me about earlier.
Oh, okay.
The first match we're talking about is Io Sky versus Asuka. Now, go ahead and give me the tea up front, and then we'll get to this match.
So this is honestly one of Dave Meltzer's greatest moves of all time. He is in his bag here because he has said that, or something along the lines of, a good number of people backstage expect Kairi Sane to show up to at least finish her involvement in this story at Backlash. And this is a masterstroke because he can say, well, I didn't say she was coming. I said people backstage expect her to show up. And then when it very clearly doesn't happen, everyone's going to get mad at WWE. So Dave Meltzer just wins on all respects. Gets people worked up for something that's not going to happen. Just totally in his bag here, sowing discord.
So I can tell you with 100% certainty that I have never wanted something that Dave Meltzer has said to be true more than this. I want this to be true.
Why would it be true, though?
I know. Hey, I'm not saying I think it would be true. I'm saying of all the wild shit he said over the years, this is the one thing where I'm like, I wish it was true. I wish this was true, because I feel like this storyline with Io and Asuka, and particularly Kairi, was done so effing dirty. I genuinely think that it was. I still feel like WWE knew who they were going to release. If you knew you were going to release this woman, why do you build a storyline with her as one of the centerpieces for months and months and months and months and months? It blows my mind. It was a staple of programming. The whole Kyrie thing, when Asuka would yell it, the whole, when will Kyrie wake up to the fact that Asuka is not good? This was a whole thing. So for them to just build to this and then, we're cutting Kyrie, and then just cut that part completely out of the story, right? I felt like it was done dirty. So I would love for this to be true. Do I think this is true? No. I genuinely don't think. The idea that people backstage, I mean, look, there was a time when R-Truth got released. There was an very audible, noticeable fan backlash over R-Truth being gone. So much so that the shows were having trouble continuing without R-Truth chants all throughout every arena that they were in. It forced WWE's hand. Now, do I think, Skeener, that WWE is beyond trying to reinvent the wheel? Trying to recreate the same magic? No, I don't. I essentially feel like that's kind of what they're doing with the Jacob Fatu stuff, is they're kind of digging back into a storyline that the Bloodline ran to a certain extent and reliving it again. But so I don't put it past WWE to try. Do I think they will though? No. They've all but turned the corner on removing all things Kyrie from this story, and they've recentered it on just Kyrie and Asuka. So the idea, what would Kyrie's role even be in this story anymore? You know what I mean? They have so amputated her from this story. I don't see how you put the limb back on. And
yeah, I don't really know either.
You know what I'm saying? And so it wouldn't even make sense to bring her back in. And why?
Why?
It's storyline wise. Why would you, what purpose would she have to come back into the story when she's gotten so thoroughly removed from it? There's nothing that she would need to do to try and convince Io or convince Asuka of anything. And she's already been removed.
Why, from the company's perspective, if she's not coming back, why would it be just a one-time thing? There's no benefit to her wrapping that up other than the reaction in the moment, I guess.
Now that's stupid,
that doesn't
right?
do much.
That's dumb. Now, if what Dave is suggesting is that this is a one-off, yeah, that's stupid.
Well, he worded it like that. People expect it to at least just finish up her story here.
I mean, listen. Technically speaking, finish up that story could be months. They could bring her. Let's say in a hypothetical world, they brought her back in, right? The best way you would do that is bring her back in and then stretch this story out at least a couple of months to tell the end of this story. But then you bring somebody back on a couple month contract. They got rid of her because they didn't see the value in her.
That's not happening.
That's not happening. That's not happening. Would I like for it to be true? Sure, because I feel like she got did dirty and that whole storyline and all parties involved got done dirty. But is that going to happen? No. But,
But the masterful part is now there are people out there that are going to be like, oh, Kyrie's coming back, and then they're going to get mad when it doesn't happen.
Either they're not thinking.
And Dave can point to evil WWE.
Either they're not thinking. Yes, he will do that. Either they're not thinking or they're not watching the Lariat Lounge. Because if they listen to this podcast, we would do a lot of the thinking for you. Listen, if there's nothing else I can say about this podcast. Okay. But regarding this match, Skeener, I am excited to see it because I love seeing Io. Asuka is freaking great. And this is, for better or worse, the remnants of what that story was, right? This is the conclusion to that story. I genuinely feel like, however, this has been so vastly deflated for me since the Kyrie release, because the story in and of itself was always really about Io and Asuka, but it was always told with this crux in the story that was the Kyrie part, because Kyrie was the version of Io that Asuka wanted her to be, right? And it was always the idea of Kyrie making that turn so that we as the audience get to see what it is that Io understood when she left that mindset from being with Asuka. It's deep, rich storytelling, right? That's told in wrestling format. And I feel like when they released Kyrie, right, you almost poked holes in the balloon a bit, right? This is the remnants of the balloon, and we're pulling it across the finish line. It's going to be a good match, but I feel like once this is done, it's just done. It's just going to be over. There's not going to be anything that WWE is really going to do with it. And so it makes me less invested than where I was just a month ago with where the storyline was going to be. And I think that as a wrestling fan and someone who cares about the talent and what it is that they do in the ring, it does make me genuinely sad for the talent, because I feel like the effort that you've been putting in and the storyline that you have been building meticulously has just been pulled out from underneath you like a rug pull. And I don't think I'm the only person out there who is kind of deflated with this story. Not the wrestlers, because they're doing a great job and they're working with what they got. But I think the story has been a little deflated, and now we're going to see how it ends, but I don't think that any ramifications that come from this are going to be substantial. But your thoughts?
Yeah. As far as the deflating goes, I think it got deflated when when the match didn't get put on WrestleMania. That would
Absolutely.
have been a good stage for it. It seems like we've just been treading the same water here. There hasn't been a lot of like new development story wise. The promos have been good, and I loved the face to face little sit down on Monday. I thought they both did a great job. I always like when they sell the mist like it's just
Arsenic.
yes, like it's just acid burning their face. And I think the match has potential, obviously, to be absolutely incredible. But yeah, as far as where we go storyline wise, I'm not so sure. And but we could see something. I mean, because I originally thought Becky was going to go into something with Io, but it seems like now it may be Becky and Soul. And what does Asuka do? I'm not too sure. There's just like, I'm not sure. We don't have a lot of to talk about here because the story has been in the same place seemingly for a month or so, which
Yeah.
is kind of odd. But I am looking forward to the match. As far as who wins, man, it's a true toss up, I think. I am going to go with Io, but this is a tough call for me.
So as far as the call is concerned, as far as the call is concerned, I think that you give the win to Io. I think you give the win to Io because it will be the feel good win for this feud, because I don't think it's going any further. I think that this is just going to get dropped by WWE like a bad habit. That is just my opinion. I feel like the feeling that you've got that this story has just been kind of like stuck in the same place for a while is because we've seen this match already. We've seen Io versus Asuka one-on-one. And I think the reason why we saw it is because this was not how it was supposed to end. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not how this story was supposed to end with them one-on-one like this. There was supposed to be another element. It was the Kyrie element, right? That's why it pissed me off so much when I think about the idea that WWE told this story up to this point, probably knowing who it was that they were going to release. Like, if you knew you were going to release,
I think there has to be some sort of disconnect there with these financial decisions.
Yeah.
If not for the Kyrie part, for the MFT part, because why would they bring them out one week and then it's just Solo looks wild, losing losing two of his guys.
Like,
And we haven't heard about Tama Tonga, but we haven't seen Tama Tonga. We didn't see him this past Friday, so who knows where that is.
No, they didn't say he got released, though, did he?
No, but where is he?
I mean, listen, I don't know. That I don't know. But he wasn't on that release list. Now,
correct.
So I don't follow the dirt sheet, so I am not scooping anything here. But, to my knowledge, he is still with the company. Now, would he be running around with Solo and Tama Tonga doing all this stuff? Probably not. If we're going storyline wise, right? He probably wouldn't be doing all of this stuff with them. But Solo has also not mentioned it whatsoever. But you've got people on that roster who we have not seen in quite a while either, right? Like we haven't seen Shinsuke. Shinsuke is the person outside the MFTs that's had the most interaction with Tama Tonga, right? And we haven't seen them either. Maybe you keep them off of TV a little bit and you do a little something with them. I think out of all the MFTs that came in, Tama Tonga is the person who had been utilized the best outside of, outside of what they're currently doing with Tama Tonga. And I think they certainly wasted JC Mateo. But
he was not meant for the role he got put in.
No.
And I don't know if there is a role in WWE for him, honestly. Like he's super athletic. He's got an interesting build. He can go in the ring, but there was not much personality there. There just was not.
No, but then also
Tongaloa's only personality was just botching in incredible ways. Nothing will ever be better than him missing the low blow on Kevin Owens and just punching him in the taint and then having to go forward and then low blow him again. Infamous Tongaloa, step up. We found out why he was infamous. That's for sure.
With regards to this match, I think EO is going to win. I think they're going to move on from this. I mean, I don't see Asuka doing much of anything else. But then again, Rhea is your women's WWE champion. What is Rhea currently doing right now?
Embroiled with Fatal Attraction and
JC Jane.
And Charlotte and Bliss.
Okay. So, yeah. So, listen, that is bound to end at some point, right? Obviously. And I don't know what the status is going to be for Bliss and Charlotte, how long they stay together as a tag team. But the problem we've always said with the women's WWE Championship division is that you don't have enough people to make that title run interesting when you have somebody who needs interesting opponents. I think Rhea Ripley is by and far the biggest name that has held that women's WWE Championship recently. Having somebody like Asuka in that division to compete.
I think I said Fatal Attraction. I mean Fatal Influence.
Fatal Influence.
Yeah.
I know what you meant.
Not the movie.
But having Asuka in that division to go up against, obviously that's great. And listen,
see, I think Raw needs Asuka more.
Fair.
Because SmackDown, we just got Fatal Influence.
True.
You've still got Jordan Grace. You still got Tiffany, Julia, Kiana James, Michin and B-Fab. You've got Blake Monroe coming. And
she is coming.
Yeah, I think we're fine on SmackDown, and seemingly Paige is going to be over there because her and Brie have exclusively been there. So I think Raw needs Asuka more, especially since seemingly Stephanie Vaquer is injured.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we're running lower on Raw. Although it seems like Liv is currently more invested in the Judgment Day stuff than she is in, defending the title, which is fine. But at some point, she'll need a challenger. And we'll see who that's going to be. Is it going to be EO? Maybe. Is it going to be Asuka? Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whatever.
I don't know who else it's going to be aside from one of those two.
Well, unless they break up the Judgment Day.
Doesn't look like they're going to, considering we were teasing Roxanne and then she proved her allegiance seemingly on Monday.
I think that's a setup. I think that's a setup. Not maybe not for Roxanne, but maybe Raquel. I think that's been floating around in the ether for quite a while now. And I don't think that it's something that should be taken off the table, particularly because I think that could make for a really interesting feud to give Liv's title run some real legs. Right, outside of what it is they're doing now. They're still coasting off of the WrestleMania win, and they're still coasting off of Liv's Judgment Day status as it currently exists. But I definitely feel like there are story threads there that should be pulled. And that's the theme, honestly, for me, for this episode, is there are threads of these stories that I really hope WWE pulls on, because they have them there. Thank you for that. I think there are threads to these stories that really need to be pulled. And if WWE had like a historian or like a lore master who like kept up with these things, and when they're writing these stories, it's not that you change the stories, but you're just like, that's great. We can tie this thread in, right, from this other story where they've touched on these types of things, and we can make it all make sense, right? I don't know if they have someone like that, but it would be really nice if they did, because there are some threads here, particularly with Raquel, that we've just kind of left dangling. And I know I haven't forgotten about them. And I would venture to think that there are plenty of people out there who enjoy the product the way we do and haven't forgot about it either. And this could be a really great misdirect, right? To build this story out using Roxanne's ability on the microphone, her appeal on camera, and her interactions with Liv to really make for subterfuge for Raquel, and for Raquel to turn on Liv, right? And you've got Raquel and Roxanne, as a pairing. What does Roxanne do? And you've got there's possibilities here. But I do agree with you, though, that Raw probably needs more help in the women's main event scene than SmackDown does, with the infusion that SmackDown has recently got. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I agree with you 1,000% there.
And it's seeming like Soul is going to go up against Becky.
Yes. Now, but Becky's on Raw, so that means Soul Ruka is on Raw.
But I'm saying like she is locked in seemingly with Becky and not into the world title scene.
Yeah, for sure. But she ain't gonna stay there. Like, she ain't gonna stay there. I think she's going to be there for a while, because obviously that's Becky Lynch. It's one of the GOATs. And so she can really build her stock up with a quality feud with Becky Lynch. And then that just sets you up. It puts you in that orbit so that WWE writing and creative can pluck you and use you in a way that would help a main event storyline. So she's in there. They just got to, find the right way to incorporate her. But no, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, though. So I guess we're both in agreement there that EO goes over here and that we have no idea what happens from this afterwards.
Yeah, seemingly.
I think we're pretty much in lockstep there. All right, so Danhausen must find a partner against The Miz and Kit Wilson. So I've been thoroughly enjoying Danhausen. I am happy to say that I turned that corner with Danhausen. And I never not liked Danhausen. I just didn't get the buildup that was around his debut prior to the debut. But they've been utilizing him well. He's been doing more in-ring stuff than I expected he was going to do.
Yeah, me too. But they're keeping it to, it's not like he's having full-blown matches where he's breaking out, all his moves. He's not having 10-minute, 15-minute classics here.
Yes, and the matches are still very gimmick-based.
Yes.
They're very much gimmick-based, and it still works. So I'm not mad at that. I'm down with that. But I did genuinely enjoy, what was it? I think it was this week, right? Where The Miz and Kit were like Wile E. Coyote trying to set a trap for Danhausen. Okay. Yeah. And they're like, hey, he's going to open the briefcase with a sign that says human money. And he will open the briefcase, and out from the briefcase will shoot out a puff of bright dust that is going to blind him. And then we can capture him and get him to remove the curse. And of course, Danhausen strolls up, sees the sign for human money, and he opens the briefcase and takes out what he believes is $400 and leaves with it. But what it was actually was like, what, $40,000 according to the Miz?
Miz said 40,000. Yes.
It said it was $40,000. And Kit says it should have worked. They open the briefcase up and then they get hit with the blinding dust.
Yes.
And so then Danhausen uses the $400 human dollars to buy free merch for all the people at the arena. And he starts throwing out free merch. Miz comes out to the ring and Miz pretty much gives up. He gives up trying to fight Danhausen, that he believes that he's cursed and that there's no point in ignoring the fact that Danhausen generally has it. He has mastered, what is it? Mastered something.
I don't know what he said to Danhausen, but it's master, inspire, zone in.
Yes, he has figured all those things out. And he's done it in a way that Kit has never been able to quite figure out. And so he pretty much turned his back on Kit Wilson. And then Kit and Danhausen argue for Miz's mentorship, only for Miz to choose Danhausen. They celebrate in the ring, and just when he's about to raise Danhausen's hand, he clocks him from behind. And then Kit Wilson and Miz stomp out Danhausen. And for some reason, we get a match at Backlash where Danhausen now has to
Danhausen demanded it from Nick Aldis.
Oh, did he? I did.
He did, yes.
I don't remember.
Yeah, after he was so poorly treated, he demanded a match.
And then I guess Nick Aldis said, yeah, but you're going to have to find a partner.
Yes, if you can find a partner.
Well, look, Seth doesn't have any friends, so...
No, but I doubt he'll be pulling double duty.
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't put anything past the Monday Night Messiah. And, you know, he can do all things. But, yeah, so you have no idea who Kit could be enlisting. Not Kit, but... Danhausen could be enlisting for help.
I mean, I have my favorite idea that I think is possible.
Please share, because I have no clue whatsoever.
Oba.
Oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Gets him on the card, and
it gets him on the card, and it gets Oba the chance to throw Miz and throw Kit Wilson around, and Danhausen can be the beneficiary of
seemingly
Oba and not have to even lay a hand on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you on that. Because that would be a great, I found a partner, and then you hear the, whoo. And yeah, okay.
That's what I was thinking.
You sold me lock, stock, barrel, and you got me. So
if they're not going like with a fun return or a cameo, if it's going to be just someone on the roster, I hope it's Oba.
Now, that's what I was thinking originally, right? That, okay, are we getting an NXT call-up? You know what I mean? Like I have no idea who that would be. I would assume it'd be someone who is either a jokey character in and of themselves, or it could be anyone, really. It could be Royce Keys.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. Listen, I will say this about Royce Keys quickly, and we'll probably get to it later, but like I've been loving his interactions backstage with Jacob.
Yeah, they played that up on this past Friday, right?
I hope they lean more into that and give us more of that, because that has been very interesting to me. Give me that fleshing out of the backstory, you know what I mean? And let me get more invested in that. I'm enjoying that. But yes, I think you are right there. I think Oba is probably going to be the needle drop there and put the fear of God into Miz and Kit Wilson.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get some nice throwing around of the two of them, and Danhausen gets to get his hand raised alongside Oba Femi. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So now let's get to this murderer. So Skeener, I don't think since Owen Hart have I seen an on-screen personality lose their life on television. But we saw Sami Zayn do the most Mortal Kombat-esque, horrendous thing I have ever witnessed on live programming. He dismembered this gingerbread man right in front of us. The camera never cut away. That was surprising to me. Okay? That was surprising to me. They never cut away. It took Trick Williams coming out from the back to not only run this offender away, but to throw up the X. Then, we cut to who was it? Corey Graves and God, why's his name escaping me?
It's Wade and Joe Tessitore.
Thanks. Wade and Joe Tessitore.
And Joe is just, Joe's in shambles.
As anyone would be. If you were sitting ringside and you witnessed what he witnessed, right? So then we get, was it Kathy Kelly backstage?
Kathy or Jackie, I'm not sure.
I told you, I always get them mixed up.
But yeah, someone was outside the trainer's
room trying to get a word from Trick. And so Trick comes out and he's pretty much telling Sami Zayn, you've taken it too far. You took out Yachty. I don't know when he's coming back. And now you done took out the gingerbread man. So as he's talking to Jackie or Kathy, the doctor peeks his head out. He's got a surgical mask on. And Trick asks the doctor, how is he? And the doctor shakes his head. And I'm sitting here thinking, wait, did he die? And then Trick not only issues a challenge to Sami Zayn to defend the death of the gingerbread man, but shortly announced after that is the funeral for the gingerbread man, the memoriam service, if you will, that will be happening this Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. I will be in attendance wearing all black. But there's been a lot of people online, Skeener, who have thought that this is such a ridiculous thing for WWE to be doing. And,
I'm reading something right now that says, this whole segment felt off. It was designed to create heat for Zayn, but it fell pretty flat in its execution.
To that, I say, show some respect. Like, the gingerbread man just died. Like, can we have a little bit of reverence for a gingerbread woman and the gingerbread kids? They lost a father and Trick lost a friend. And we haven't even had the in memoriam service. And you've got these blowhards online who are saying this crazy stuff, dismissing this man's work in his absence. He can't even speak for himself, Skeeter. I, for one, am offended for him. Now, taking my kayfabe robe off while keeping the mask on, this was just fun wrestling. We spoke about this at the top of the episode, right? Am I to believe, Skeener, that the Tongan death grip,
right,
if applied properly on Saturday, could kill Roman Reigns? Death is in the name. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the Tongan grip. It's not the Tongan submission grip. It's the Tongan death grip. Also, just to be clear, until they removed the word curb, Seth Rollins was actually stomping people onto asphalt, uneven asphalt that leads from the street to the sidewalk. That's a curb. So, the Death Valley driver, I don't know how many people it actually killed, but apparently we should never been doing that move either. If you think too hard about this stuff, I feel like you're going to hurt your brain. This is one of those things where I feel like you should really kind of just let wrestling be fun and enjoy it and watch two people execute it well. Like the idea that this was supposed to get Sami Zayn heat, but it failed in its execution. I'm really supposed to think that people are supposed to really hate Sami Zayn because he killed a gingerbread man in the ring. I mean, just
the thing is, I think the thing with that is like, I think they're going to, especially this Friday when he comes out and interrupts the funeral. People are going to be pissed.
Oh, dude, I think so. Here's my thing.
Because everyone's going to be playing into it because it's fun.
There you go. That you took the words out of my mouth. And this is the difference, right? This is the difference between marks online and fans of live shows, right? This reeks of a live show angle, right? Because these are the types of things that fans just get behind. It's fun to participate in. We've talked about this on numerous episodes in the past, right? Where there is an unsigned contract between the performance and the fans that are in attendance, right? When you give the fans something to latch on to, they will willingly play their role, right? When you give them something that's good, they will play their part. This is fun. This is engaging. Right? And you have two people in Trick Williams and Sami Zayn who know how to deliver this. Sami Zayn is doing some of his best work, in my opinion, right now. Being the straight 100%. Man to this whole gag that he's like, are we really even doing this? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And then all this is like, I mean, show some respect.
Yeah.
And it just works. And then Trick is playing it so straight at the same time, tongue in cheek, right? And it just works so well. He does it so well. And it's why the fans are resonating. And I think you're 1,000,000% correct. On Friday, I think all the fans are going to play their part. When Sami Zayn interrupts, I think they're going to boo him, not because, oh my God, he did this to the gingerbread man and we hate him. No, because they're going to boo because this is what the story dictates they do. The story is being told so well that the fans know exactly the role that they should be playing and they want to play it because it's fun. I don't understand why a lot of the Marky Mark people choose to be members of the Funky Bunch and decide that they don't want to understand how to have fun. Fun is in the name Funky. If you choose to be a part of the Funky Bunch, you should be able to have fun, Marky Mark. But I don't understand why you are like allergic to fun, but I'm not. I find it great. I find it super entertaining. And it's one of the reasons why I find wrestling just a great medium, because you can go from these really serious stories like what the Bloodline does and serious stories like with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton before it gets hijacked to these really interestingly fun told stories. It's wrestling. It's wrestling 101. Like, come on. Like, can we not enjoy a little bit of this? But your thoughts, man. I've been rambling.
This, along with something we'll get to on Raw, were my favorite wrestling things of the week. Like you said, Sami Zayn, for as critical as we have been of some of his work, this is incredible. Like, I love what he's doing. Like, the promo, he comes out, talks about the fans turning on him like they turned on Bob Dylan when he picked up an electric guitar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, and just the moment for me was not even beyond the ridiculousness of Sammy snapping and beating up this gingerbread man, is that he dropped down and gave him the dramatic low blow. And everyone is like, oh, boo. Like, that is, giving the gingerbread man the low blow first was incredible. And then, everything you talked about, Trick's throwing up the eggs. And then, Sammy gets back. He's like, are we really doing, like you said, he's like, are we doing this? And everyone else is like, everyone else, like, it just gives, it works so well for what Sammy's doing with the character, because he gets to rightfully be like, what in the world are we doing here? Yes. And everyone else is like, what? Calm down, Sammy. Like, show some respect. Yes. And it just gets to drive that character even more mad. And it's just, all of this is working so well. And Agreed. This, whether it was meant to or not, the way this has, like, the double turn between Sammy and Trick just so naturally has just been awesome. Like, they've been doing great work. Sammy is reinvigorated for me.
Agreed.
Because where I didn't like what he was doing before, now he gets to do it and just like play into the fact that people don't like it, and now it works, which is the great thing about wrestling. And I don't think anyone thinks Trick is going to lose this title back to Sammy, and I think Trick's going to win the match, and we're just going to keep going. But both of them have been doing awesome stuff, and I can't wait for this memorial service on Friday.
Oh, I agree. I can't wait, dude. And listen, I think that Sami Zayn and this character that he is playing right now, this idea that he is the wrestler who has this false sense of reality of what his version of the wrestling world is, right? When he was the United States champion, he was going on and on about my wrestling fans, the people who have been here to support me, like they get what I'm doing and all these things, but nobody actually got it. Like, that was the best part, is Sammy lived in this world, right, where it is the purity of wrestling, that he is the pure wrestler, and that's why people love him, right? But people aren't loving him character-wise, right? And that's what makes the delusional heel a great character. This is an interesting spin on the delusional heel, right? So then you take it with this situation with Trick Williams, where you've got the gingerbread man, and everyone around this situation is playing it straight, right? And Sammy is like, are we really doing this over like a plush gingerbread man, right? And it just speaks to this idea that Sammy lives in this hyper real world of what professional wrestling is, but it's professional wrestling, right? There's nothing hyper real about professional wrestling, right? The whole idea of the pure wrestler is a character in and of itself, right? They're all character archetypes in the world of professional wrestling, right? And the idea that Sammy believes that the pure wrestler archetype is a real thing and that he is the real thing, right? It just plays so well in this over the top story, right? That everyone's playing straight. Sammy's like, I can't believe we're doing this. And yet he's still going to go into this match, just like he went into the ring and still dismembered and beat up and low blow.
Right.
You know
the
what I'm
low
saying?
blow is still my favorite.
The gingerbread man that he knows is not even a real thing or a real wrestler, and he acknowledges that, but then he still attacked it as if it was. This is just great professional wrestling. The fact that some people just don't like this, I mean, sometimes I wonder why they watch wrestling.
Right.
Like, what do you watch wrestling for? It blows my mind, because this is, to me, is quintessential pro wrestling. It's just what it is. It's fun. It's engaging. It's entertaining. But I think we're both in lockstep here that Trick is not dropping this title to Sami Zayn right now.
No, probably not.
I can't see a world where that happens. He's way too popular. He's way too over right now. And he's doing wonders for that United States Championship. I agree with Roman when he says, and always have, that, the person makes the title. The title doesn't make the person. And with this title around Trick, the United States Championship almost takes a back seat to Trick. And I think that's why it's a good thing. You know what I mean? If the title is what is needed to make you, then without the title, it's likely going to break you. That's genuinely what our concern was, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to misquote you, Skeena, but I genuinely think that's what our concern was toward the end of Stephanie Vaquer's championship run. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She's great in the ring, no doubt about that. But at certain points, it seemed like the feuds that she was in were reaching these points where she did not seem to be showing these elements of the star power that WWE saw in her. And I think she's a star. There's some developing that needs to happen. And I think she can do it. But I think her coming to the main roster, they strapped the rocket to her very quickly because she was very popular. But I think once the certain aspects of her popularity became normalized, right, then you've got to build something else. I just don't think that was there with her. And you and I started questioning it a bit. And I feel like this is the opposite for Trick. I think Trick makes the United States Championship really a secondary thing to himself. And I think that's the same thing that Becky Lynch has done with the Intercontinental Championship. She's made it secondary to herself, which in turn means that as her star rises, that belt status rises too. So,
yeah, it can be a big deal because someone you think is a big deal treats it as a big deal.
Yes.
That's how it should be and how it should work.
Absolutely. 1,000%. So what was that thing that you were saying on Raw that was kind of tied into this that you wanted?
I mean, we had two brand new luchadors debut.
I knew that's what you were. I knew that's what you were.
Bruto and Julio Credo.
Which is crazy because I saw two gentlemen on AAA that look surprisingly similar to the Creed brothers, and the Creed brothers.
Well, I think did they attack him down there in masks, or did they not?
No, they were not masked.
Okay, that's
hilarious
what I thought.
Part.
Yeah,
that's the hilarious part. They attacked El Grande Americano, which the way they're calling it right now is like the original El Grande Americano
and the real
real El Grande Americano.
Yes.
The real El Grande is Kaiser, and the original is Chad Gable. And so, the real El Grande Americano was attacked by the Creeds in Mexico on behalf of OG Americano.
Yes.
And then OG Americano shows up with 2 masked luchadors of his own.
Yeah, to an old-fashioned trios match.
I wonder if the person who had the criticism about the gingerbread man angle with Trick and Sammy feels the same way about this, who also feels the same way about Danhausen. You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of like, if that is the hill that you're willing to die on, right? Then you've also got to be, dying to self when it comes to Danhausen. You've got to be dying to self when it comes to El Grande Americano from the very beginning, right? To the Real, to Rayo and Bravo, to the Creeds becoming these mass luchadors, and everybody playing it up like they don't recognize that these people are the same.
I'll tell you, the same outlet said this feud cannot end soon enough. So
about what?
There you go.
OG and Real?
Yeah.
Put that in. Can I guess the outlet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the outlet Fightful Select?
No, it's Bleacher Report.
Bleacher Report?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, I don't remember the last time the dirt sheets were credible. Like, I don't remember the last time they were credible
I think these people, that end up making wrestling like their career so much, they just suck the enjoyment out of it for themselves, I agree. Which is a tough place to be with something that can be so fun. And I'm not saying the way and the stuff we like is the only way to have fun, but there seem like these people make themselves genuinely miserable watching a TV show, which probably shouldn't be what you're doing.
It begs the question of, why do you watch?
Right.
Like, if you're not enjoying it, why do you watch? But then again, if you've made it your career, then you're probably watching because it's how you pay your bills, even though now you hate it and you don't like what it is and you long for the days of yore.
Right.
Or it's all New Japan. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But listen, my thing is this. If you long for the good olden days of pro wrestling where things were simpler and the characters were characters, you should be watching AAA. It's kind of close to that. Like, the way they do their programming is a little closer to that. By the way, Gage, I'm sorry. I have not been keeping up on AAA. It has been a lot of wrestling to watch. And there's been a lot that's been going on outside of this little box that you guys watch us on, or the box that you listen to us from. Outside of that has just kind of kept me away from having a lot of super duper free time to watch a lot of AAA. I've been wanting to get back to it, and if I get some free time in the next couple weeks, I'm probably going to do what I did originally and just binge episodes of AAA and get caught back up. But I will be doing that hopefully soon, because the Mask Against Mask match is happening really, really soon. And honestly, I'm a bit invested in how that story ends. So I will be catching back up on that.
I loved that on Monday. I thought they all just played into it so well. I thought the crowd was really into it, but just seeing how committed to the bit everyone is, especially how good Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate have been as Rayo and Bravo, is just so hilarious to me.
Those could have been roles that Stardusted.
Mm-hmm.
Those could have been roles that people are like, this is the role that they give me right before they cut me a pink slip. But you have sank so far into the role that not only has it extended your lifespan past the recent cuts, because this could have been a role that got cut a week ago, right? But instead, not only has it extended your lifespan, but in AAA, they freaking love you. They love you down there. And it's just committing to the bit and just kind of really digging your heels in and doing it. And mind you, at the end of the day, if you had the same sentiment, if you had the same sentiment that Cody had for Stardust, do what you need to do. Mm-hmm. Cody left because that's just not the role he wanted to play after his father's death, right? And knowing what that character meant for the Rhodes name, right? I get that. And if Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate felt that way about the characters that they were playing, and they decided they wanted to get out of their contract and leave, I get it. I totally respect it. But if this is what you want to do, my hat's off to you, because you are making it work, and you're making it work in a way that is uniquely you, super engaging and fun, and the fans appreciate you for it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that mask versus mask match, and I still believe that Real is going to lose that match, and he's going to get christened something else. But we could see there's some stock right now behind El Grande Americano, the name, and so I don't know. It could be possible that Gable loses, and we get Chad Gable back. He's miraculously healed from his injury as El Grande Americano OG goes away. And then Chad Gable all of a sudden comes back and, he's healed. But let's see. So Trick goes over there. Now, here's one that I think may be a bit more of a toss-up with regards to how this plays out. And there's a lot of interesting moving parts here. So Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. I have been genuinely loving their interactions ever since Breaker came back. Like, that spear he hit on Seth on Monday looked like it hurt a lot. Like, he hit that spear hard. And, boy, Seth ate that one. And look, I'll say this too. I know Breaker is a strong dude. I obviously, you can tell just by looking at the guy. But dude, when he so easily gorilla pressed Seth over his head outside the ring, I remember sitting there thinking to myself, Jesus, dude, like that's a whole 200 plus pound human being that you just deadlifted over your head and just threw somewhere. Like, I could not do that right now if my life depended on it.
We had some crazy feats of strength the past few episodes of wrestling. Between Jacob and the Samoan drop on Tawatonga, you had Braun, and then you had Oba tossing Otis around.
That right there. So I paused when it happened and I rewound a little bit because I really wanted to see how far he threw Otis in the ring. Yeah. And granted, no, he's not throwing him as far as he throws like a Kit Wilson, right?
He threw him pretty far.
But like, he was in the corner and he threw him mid-ring. Mm-hmm. Like, call me crazy, but that's stupid hard to do. Like, that's a crazy feat of strength. And to do it the way he did, after also doing this to Brock Lesnar, we've seen some crazy feats of strength as of late. And, this feud with Seth and Breaker has had a lot of moving parts that I'm trying to wrap my head fully around, Skeena, on how the connection of these parts is going to form a story because I don't understand it fully right now, right? So Seth and Braun have been obviously going head up. Then you have the other members of the Division going head up against the Street Profits. But Joe Hendry is also tied into this, right? Because he's tied in with the Street Profits now and whatever they got going on with Division.
Well, and he wants Logan Paul fired.
He does want Logan Paul fired a lot. A lot. He's sang that song at least twice now.
Got the crowd into it this time.
It's
big
catchy.
Time.
It's a catchy song.
He's so good at his job, which is just getting the crowd invested. Like, he made a theme song that just tells people what to do. Wave your hands from side to side, and they do it.
And they do.
Seeing him talk about that in an interview one time, it's like, that's a great way to think about it. Just make a song, tell them what to do, and they'll do it.
Listen, he tells the people to believe in him, right? He tells people to wave their hands from side to side. I mean, yes, you're right. He has really cornered the market when it comes to controlling the fans in a way that they want to be controlled. And it works for him. But he's tied into this with the Vision, with the Street Profits. The Street Profits are being tied into a thing with Seth, right? Where Seth is like, we're fighting the same people. We should be working together. But if that's not the case, I'll do you a solid. I'll stay out of your way and you stay out of mine. But Braun Breaker is still tied up in this equation too, because Braun and Seth are heads up with one another, right? But there's still this narrative that is being told about Seth Rollins burning every bridge he's ever crossed. And I believe there wasn't there like an interview? Didn't Michael Cole do an interview with Seth or something like that? Somebody did, storyline wise, where Seth spoke about the reality that he's kind of
I don't
like
remember
alone
this.
out here. I feel like I heard that. I thought I heard that on the show. But whatever the case may be, Seth is kind of on an island, unto himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can go ahead and get into this.
Yeah,
unless there's somewhere else you wanted to go.
No, not really. I mean, the only thing I was going to say is that for as many brawls as we have had lately, I thought Mondays between Breaker and Rollins was awesome, just because of how great Braun looked. Like, it's nothing we didn't already know, but just a physical specimen.
Agreed. And listen, he's a tough dude. I need Braun Breaker, however, to please, Bronson Rex-Steiner, sir, please stop taking these nasty looking bumps that make me feel like you could have hurt yourself, right? When Seth threw him into the stairs outside the ring, it looked like he lost his footing and went like head first into the side of these stairs. When it happened, I thought to myself, dear God, if he's injured again, I thought he was going to come up from the side of those stairs and like his nose was going to be sideways. I thought he you know what I'm saying? He hit so hard that I was just like, I hope he's not injured. Clearly he was not, but I thought it. And I'm like, dude, either you're making this look really good to the point where it's uncomfortable for me, or like just protect yourself a little bit better. But whatever the case may be, yes, that brawl was great. I love the fact that Seth's sentiment behind I'm not dead yet means you should have killed me because I'm going to come back and attack you right away. Like, this is going to be on site and immediate. And it's not going to be, next week on Raw. It's not going to be, what I'm saying, on some backstage segment that airs on WWE's YouTube page. This is going to be right tonight. I'm going to come and get my receipt tonight. You should have ended it because now that you haven't, I'm going to get mine. I love that. That was just a great beat to this feud here. I'm going to save what it was I was going to get into because it's more appropriate when we talk about the main event of Backlash. But
so who do you have winning?
Brother, this is the thing that I am probably, that's not even probably, this is the one I have the hardest time calling on this card easily. I don't know who you put over in this situation. In my mind, based on what it is that I'm thinking, which I'm going to go into in the next little segment when we talk about Roman versus Jacob, if I had to pick someone who's going to win this, I would give it to Braun. I would give it to Braun because I don't believe that this is over. And because I don't believe it's over, because Seth is essentially in the face position in this feud against Breaker winning here means that Seth needs his get back. You know what I'm saying? He needs his one up. And so they will face each other again. So in this scenario, I think you give it to Breaker, and maybe you give it to Breaker with the help of the Vision. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see Logan Paul and Austin Theory versus the Street Profits on the bill for Backlash.
No, it's not happening yet.
They ain't got nothing to do. So the Vision, I think, are probably going to come out here, interfere in this match, right? I think they're going to ultimately cost Seth the match. But I also think that they are going to get run off by the Street Profits. But I think that the damage will already have been done, and Seth is going to eat a ridiculously nasty looking spear from Breaker, and Breaker's going to take the win. And I think that Seth is going to need to build some alliances. He's going to need to repair some bridges, mend some fences in order to get himself in a position where he can succeed, because they've been leaning way too heavy into this island unto himself angle, right? And it's been costing him. And so he's going to have to build some alliances in order to get this done, because right now the Vision have his number. And I think that the numbers game is going to be too much for him to overcome. So that's my pick. But your thoughts, brother?
I have the exact same thoughts. Braun Breaker in kind of the exact same way you said. I don't see Braun losing here, and especially with, like you said, they've just played up Seth having no friends too much.
Yeah.
That maybe, the Vision does get involved and the Street Profits come out, but not necessarily to help Seth, and that ends up costing him.
Yeah. Not 1,000%. 1,000%. So we're both, I think we're in lockstep right now on almost every match on this card, which honestly,
and
to be fair,
I don't think it's going to change
no,
in the main event.
no, unless somebody has bumped their head between now
Yeah.
and the next segment that's coming up in seconds. No, I think we are, I think we're in lockstep on that one too. But let's get to that because I have this theory and it's not Austin theory. But theory is in the name, and I want to get to it because it's going to be, I think it's interesting. I was thinking about it on the ride home from work today. We have the world heavyweight champion, Roman Reigns, defending against Jacob Fatu. Now, I have found this feud both fun and also, Skeener, because Roman Reigns is not dropping this title to Jacob Fatu. The fact that this inter-family turmoil that is happening within the bloodline is not familiar, but at the same time, somewhat familiar. This feud has been fun for me to watch, but also at the very same time, it's got me more so thinking about what happens next after this feud is over than the feud itself. This is fun. This is cool, right? But we've seen some of these beats before, and the outcome is literally almost predetermined. And because of that, the stakes on the match for me don't feel very heavy. And so I feel like this is a story beat. This is a story beat that is going to roll into something bigger. And it's got my brain rotating around what the future of this could look like. But we've been selling the Tongan death grip like it is, you know, the second coming of the spike, how that was originally sold as like, this is the thing that takes people out, right?
Well, Roman said this isn't something you use on your family. This is what you use in the 8-on-1 bar fight.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if that is the way you prestige the Tongan death grip by saying this is what you use in an 8-on-1 bar fight. Look, I'm gonna be real.
I love. I love the little nod to the Haku stories there. I thought that was.
Is that
fun.
what that was?
Yeah, because they always talk about Haku'd go to the bars and he'd take 5 guys at once and all that. And yeah, that's what that was.
You know what? I like it more now. I was literally about to say I thought it was okay. I thought it was kind of ridiculous the way that was framed for me.
No, it's just a reference to all the stories about Haku.
Oh, well, I like it more now. But I tell you what, I wish that the thread that they would pull, right? Not to bury the lead. So way back, let's go back in the Wayback Machine. Way back when Solo was making his version of the bloodline in Roman's absence, he brought in people who were going to be his eventual MFT. One of the people that he brought in was Jacob Fatu. When Roman came back, one of the things that Roman said to Solo in the tribal chief versus I'm the tribal chief thing was that there's a reason we don't associate with them.
With Jacob in particular.
Yes, but he was also talking about the Tongans. He was talking about like there's a reason we don't associate with them. I want to know not necessarily what that reason is. If you want to give me that lore within the story, great. But when we're talking about what we're talking about in this feud, which is Jacob needing the position, not the position of tribal chief, but needing the championship and all the things that the championship brings because he needs that for his family, right? And Roman replies with, you're talking about taking this to put food on the table for one family. I take this and put food on the table for a whole bunch of families. Jacob's response should have been, but not mine. You all never looked out for us. You remember what you said? There's a reason we don't fool with them. There's a reason we don't mess with them, right? You dive into that part. You give me something new within this story, right? Where it's like, yeah, there's a reason why they didn't mess with this other group of Samoans, right? And then it gives Roman, who is presenting currently, and as he has done this entire time of being the tribal chief, this air of responsibility, right? That the role of the tribal chief entails. And that being the head of the table, being the champion is a burden that he carries with pride because he puts food on the table for the family and that he provides these opportunities for people, right? But it also undercuts just a little bit when you think about the idea that you do that selectively. You do that for the family members who you want to do that for. But there's a whole other group of Samoans over here, right? The lineage that Jacob Fatu comes from, storyline wise, right? The lineage that Jacob Fatu comes from, the Tongans, right? Those Samoans, you don't provide for them. You know what I mean? Like you don't put food on their table. You don't provide them with opportunities. And he rubbed it a little bit, right? When he was like, while you all were here and you were all running the company and the bloodline and you all were providing all these things, I was out here fending for myself. That was a perfect opportunity to lean a little bit into that, right? A thread that they could pull to really just tie something that seemingly WWE is treating as a throwaway line in the feud between Roman and Jacob. And it could really be brought back in. As you were saying last week, it would be a great way to speak to why, at the end of the day, if Jacob had to make a decision, he would choose Solo over Roman because Solo's the one who gave him the opportunity. Solo's the one who reached out to him. Now, Roman's saying, I'm the head of the table. Solo don't do nothing without me approving it. So technically, I brought you into the company.
Well, he said he brought in Solo, so I brought in you.
Technically, you did not. You don't claim everything that everyone else does as your own actions, right? But that's the hubris that Roman has. I love that even when he is in that face space, right? He still carries all the character traits that made for the tribal chief character that was the heel, that everybody loved to hate, right? He hasn't lost it because he's now in the good guy position. He still carries this level of hubris, right? That is somewhat detrimental to him really being a good guy. And you could pull that string and make it like, oh yeah, you think I'm the good guy, the provider. But there's a whole group of us that you don't even talk about.
Told you so long ago. Not a bad guy, not a good guy, the guy.
Yeah.
So long ago.
But this is just a story beat I feel like they could really pull. But yeah, I think this is going to be a fun match. I think Jacob is going to show why people believe that he is a main eventer. I think Roman's going to do Roman. I think this match is going to be fun. Will it be shenanigan free? I don't think so. But I don't know where those shenanigans are coming from. It could come from the Usos. It could come from Solo. It could come from I don't know. But will this match go off without someone jumping a barricade or coming out from the back? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But
not
I think
with all the involvement that we've had so far.
Right. But as stated earlier, I think the conclusion is pretty foregone, right? Like Roman's not dropping the title. He's already stated he's going to be here all summer. If he drops the title, he ain't got no reason to come around and be here all summer. And Roman liked to leave. So, if for no other reason than to keep the man true to his word, keep the title on him at least through SummerSlam. But I wonder if that was him calling his shot early, like tipping the hat to the fans that like, yeah, you got me through the summer. SummerSlam, I'm going to drop this thing and then I'm going to be gone till January. But
maybe
whatever the case may be, I think Roman's going over here. I think we're in lockstep on that. But Skeena, your thoughts on this feud going into its zenith?
Yeah, I think Roman's going to win. Not really sure where everyone goes after this. We do have Roman on every Raw until Clash in Italy, and he'll be on Clash in Italy as of now, so we'll see him. So he's obviously going to do something these next 5 weeks or so, whatever. So we'll see how that goes. I have liked this feud. It's brought kind of Solo back into the forefront. Like I gave my hot take last week that Solo is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated WWE superstar of all time. I like that it's brought him back. I thought he was great on SmackDown again in his interaction with the Usos and Jacob. I think Jacob's been awesome. I'll just, we'll see where it goes. Obviously, losing Tongaloa and JC Mateo, it brings the numbers down a little bit. I don't know if it really affects much story-wise, but a little bit different numbers game now. But I'm excited to see where they go, what type of shenanigans take place, in this match, who does what. I think that'll give us an idea of where things go in the future. And if this continues with maybe some involvement from other parties, who knows? I mean, do we see maybe a big 6-man or something at Clash? Maybe Roman and the Usos against Jacob, Solo, and Tala. We'll see.
It's very possible. I mean, I think that would probably be the thread that I would pull if I was writing this. And in particular, if I have this theory that I've been talking about all episode, and I think now is the time to bring it in because I think it ties directly into what it is that we were talking about and what it is that we're postulating now. So Roman currently is running with Jimmy and Jay. Are they officially the bloodline again? We don't know. But they're definitely acting in a family first, capacity when it comes to how they're looking at the interactions between Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, etc. Right? The last promo that we got with Roman, Jimmy, and Jay, I found very interesting. It was what Jimmy and Jay said to Roman that got me thinking. So Jay, let me start with Jimmy. Jimmy was saying that he kind of understands where Jacob is coming from. He gets the position, right? He says he's with Roman, but I get where Jacob is coming from. To Jay was like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Jay was saying something along the lines of there needs to be consequences for this. Mm-hmm. There needs to be consequences for this type of, I don't know, treachery or this type of insurrection-like behavior on behalf of Jacob. And did Roman, he agreed with what Jay, correct? That there need to be some repercussions for this?
Mm-hmm. Consequences.
Some consequences. So was this prior to Roman's accepting of the match from Jacob?
Yes.
Okay. So the promo that Jimmy and Jay had this past Monday before they went into Roman's locker room. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what they said to the backstage interviewer?
I just remember them saying it was family business. I don't remember exactly what what was said, to be honest with you.
But Roman accepted Jacob's offer this past Monday, right? No, because they did the contract signing.
No, he gave him the match after Jacob hit him with the
Tongan death grip
grip the first time. Okay. 2 weeks ago, I think.
Okay.
Right?
Did he?
Because he was like, because he was laying in the ring and he was like, Jacob, you got your match.
Okay. But he hit him with the Tongan death grip 2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
Because I feel like the first week he did it, Roman was just kind of like coughing and stuff like that as the show went off. And then the second week.
Well, no, that's when he did that. He was laying in the ring when he first attacked him physically.
So was it the second week then? So was it the second week then when Jacob attacked him that the show ended with Roman just laying in the ring?
Yeah, but he didn't just lay in the ring. He was up against the ropes and got the mic and said, like, Jacob, you got your match.
Wait, but you said that was the first week. Is it the first week or the second week?
No, the first week it just ended with him
laying
coming
on
out
the mat
and challenging him. No, they didn't get physical.
Okay,
week.
Got you.
Then the second week they got physical and Roman said, you got your match. And then I think isn't that all we've had?
So this week was when he mentioned the not using the Tongan death grip and that this isn't a bar fight and understood. Okay. So here's my little theory, right? What if Jimmy and Jay are not as locked in with Roman as we may think? So I was thinking about this as I was coming home from work. Does Jay in particular really still need Roman? My response would be no. Jay has ascended to the top of the mountain. And as we stated before in previous conversations, right, surrounding Jimmy, Jay, and Roman was never around, never present for Jay's title run. In this go around with the three of them, particularly with regards to the build to 42, CM Punk, and then specifically certain actions have hinted at this idea that not that Roman is taking orders from Jay, but that Roman sees Jay more as an equal now and less as a subordinate to him. That leads to me the idea that maybe Jay sees himself the same way. Now, Jimmy's response in that pre-taped segment about understanding Jacob's position, right? Wanting to provide for his family, wanting to be that top guy and having everything that it entails. I think that's not just a moment of empathy. I think it speaks to Jimmy as a character. Jimmy's never reached those heights that his brother's reached. He's never reached those heights that Roman has reached. It makes sense for him to understand that position, not just from the idea of providing for his family, but that he would like to be the top guy himself one day. Always playing the subordinate to Roman, and now to a certain extent his own brother. He gets the idea of wanting to carve out a legacy for himself. Solo. At this point, Solo is never going to bend a knee to Roman. Again, right? He's never going to do that.
Yeah, he said on Friday that
right.
He still said he's not my tribal chief.
He's not my tribal chief, right? So here's the thing, right? Not that this match ends with Roman Reigns losing, but there's a way for Jacob Fatu to win and Roman not drop the title, right? That's with the disqualification. Now, a disqualification in most situations, I feel, would be a letdown for fans, right? But at the same time, I also think that nobody believes that Jacob is going to beat Roman in this match. So this is more story than it is victory. I think you have Solo and Tala Tonga show up, right? The Usos show up. The Usos are there to stand in opposition to Tala Tonga and Solo. But then what you have happen is they all get in the ring and whoop Roman's ass. They all get in the ring and they whoop Roman's ass. Or Solo and Tala do it and the Usos let it happen. The Usos let it happen because Jimmy understands the necessity to want to be on top, and Jay is like, there need to be consequences for this, and Roman ain't doing it. And so they allow it to happen. What this does is it puts Roman on this island unto himself, this island of his own making because of the way he's treated his family, which brings back in CM Punk's words during their feud at 42. It doesn't make them throwaway, right? Solo already said he's never been in the knee to Roman again, and Tala is loyal to Solo, right? Jacob's not bending the knee to Roman, so Roman is by himself. You know who else is on an island unto themselves right now? The person who he has been running into more frequently over the last few months, whether it's passing backstage or on Raw at the opening when it looks like it's Roman's opening, only for Seth freaking Rollins to come into the frame and say, you're in my way. Ever since these two parted ways in their hatred for each other, each of them have ascended to super duper star status, right? Apart from one another. Seth has been going down this journey where he has been by himself. It has been made very clear that he has no friends, that he's burned every bridge that he's had here through his time with the Vision, through all of the other times that he has turned on everyone to raise his own stock. What if this forces Roman and Seth to have some sort of uneasy alliance, right? What if this forces Roman and Seth to have some uneasy alliance? What if the Street Profits are also a part of this? What if the Street Profits see the rationale in Seth's position against the Vision? Now, does this mean that Solo and Tala and the Usos and the Vision are all connected? No. But if this is a story that we are now shifting the center focus around Roman and Seth, right? This Seth is also got freaking, what's his name? Gunther attacking him out of nowhere.
Well, Gunther's got other plans now.
He does. Well, who did Gunther choke out? Cody?
Cody.
Which, look, that's a crazy usage of Gunther too, by the way. Like, way to just, like, WWE no-sell retcon what just happened there. Like, don't remember what he just did. We're moving on from that. But that's my idea. I was thinking about it as I came home, right? What if we're slow burning this into essentially what Charlotte and Alexa were in the beginning, allies of convenience, that they don't like each other. But right now, Seth is on an island by himself because he's burned every bridge that he's had. Roman is by himself because he has treated his family like shit this entire time. And people either have had enough of it or don't feel like they need to follow Roman anymore to make their own way, right? And with their backs against the wall, you have these two former Shield members relying on each other loosely for backup.
I love it. I don't know if it's going to happen,
Yeah.
but you laid it out the Seth threads, like that really makes sense. I enjoy that. I don't know. I mean, I love it. We'll see. Would love for it to happen. Don't want to get my hopes up though.
Yeah, listen.
Because it's really good. I just don't know.
Do I think that is what WWE is going to do? I don't know. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like, because when I think about the Roman Jacob thing, right? The outcome to this feud is very foregone. And honestly, if I'm being completely honest here, this whole feud feels out of nowhere a little bit. It feels a little out of nowhere. There has not been a real build to this. It just came out of nowhere with this Jacob challenging Roman because Jacob wants what Roman has. It felt a little ham-fisted, but it was handled well. I'm feeling like this is meant to build a very different story regarding Roman, the Bloodline, Seth. These were all players at the end of WrestleMania 40. Roman, elements of the Bloodline, who he was in that family, Seth's involvement, right? We're bringing these elements back together in a way that shows the results of the years of success that these two men have had, right? And that at the end of the day, you being at the mountaintop is really a lonely place because it takes a bunch of people that you stepped on to fall away for you to realize that you're up there by yourself, right? Mm-hmm. I like the idea. I think that it ties in a lot of loose ends and threads that have been kind of hanging. And honestly, I wouldn't think I would even be positioning this if it didn't seem like WWE was plucking a few of these strings lately.
The Roman and Seth getting allied in that way does make sense.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I like it. I love that idea.
I would love to see it. And honestly, I think if just when it comes to the Backlash portion of that idea, I think that makes for a way better ending to Backlash than Roman just beating Jacob. Like, where do we go from there? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Jacob's first foray into the main event picture is right up there with Roman, and then Roman just beats him, right? It doesn't make any sense. If I was booking that with anybody else aside from Jacob, I would be like, if you think Jacob is a star like that, you need to book a Lost Strong, right? And how you book a Lost Strong is have some type of interference that costs him the match, right? In this case, you've got the perfect people to interfere because you've been roping them in this story already. Roman would have been disrespecting Solo this whole time, right? Solo has already stated on multiple occasions that he's not my tribal chief. And, Solo has built himself up as the own leader of his own family, right? Another person who came in under Roman, but don't need Roman no more, right? Jay has reached the mountaintop on his own. Roman was never around for that. He don't need Roman no more. And when it comes to Jimmy, in Jimmy's position, he's always going to be subservient to someone who is at the position that he would probably love to be at. Any professional wrestler, every interview I've ever heard, they're like, any wrestler who's in their right mind wants to be the top guy, and he understands Jacob's position of wanting to be able to provide, not just for his family, but to provide the future that he would love to see for himself, right? You've got all these reasons why these people who seemingly look like they're with Roman right now are no longer there. And then let's not forget, Roman also does not have his wise man. He's off doing something else. You know what I'm saying? And that wise man is tied in with the group that Seth is feuding with. There's a lot of crossover here and threads that are hanging, and WWE seems to be plucking some of these things. Every time you cross Roman and Seth backstage in a segment, it is impossible to think that WWE does not know what they're doing there, right? That they're plucking at people's heartstrings, those Shield heartstrings, that they're getting those people to remember that stuff on purpose, right? And so I just don't feel like they're dangling those threads in front of people and plucking those strings for no reason. But at the very same time, WWE has done this before, where they pluck these strings and they get you invested, and then they just go a completely different direction and never come back to these things. So it's anybody's guess, but that's what we do here on this podcast. At least that's what I be doing. Is I'd be theory casting and fan casting these things in my head to my heart's content. But
sounds good.
I would love to see it too. Skeener, is there anything else that we did not capture from SmackDown and Raw? Because we covered the main beats here.
Not that's germane to Backlash, I wouldn't think.
No.
We didn't talk about Cody and Gunther, but I don't think there's much to talk about right now.
We didn't talk about Cody and Ricky Saints.
No.
But I don't think there's a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Saints debuted. He lost to Cody, but I mean, the bigger thing coming out of that is Gunther attacks Cody. So seemingly, unfortunately, Randy is hurt or needs to be off TV for a while, because I can't think of any other reason we haven't seen Randy Orton for 2 weeks. And
Agreed.
Gunther is showing up on SmackDown attacking Cody, but we'll see. I mean, I think Gunther probably needs to be positioned in a good leading spot for this international tour. I think that's kind of the main thing here, and we'll see where it goes. But we'll get another SmackDown, and I don't think anything's going to develop there on Backlash, so I don't think there's reason to waste a ton of airtime now.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot too. Just to kind of step back to what we were just talking about. So we're wrapping up, and I'm just going down the cards for what happened on SmackDown and Raw, just to make sure I didn't miss anything I want to talk about. And it gets to the section with Solo, and the headline for this section says Solo Sikoa threatened war with Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Jacob Fatu.
That was on Friday, yeah.
So that just leads me to feel more, you know what I'm saying, about what it was I was thinking. Even if it's not like a combining of everyone against Roman, everyone can still be against Roman and be their own factions, right? Solo, if he declares war against the Usos, Roman, and Jacob, Solo can be doing his own thing. The Usos can step away, you know what I'm saying, and just not get involved when they attack Roman, you know what I mean? And not necessarily be aligned with the Usos themselves. Like, I forgot about that. But yes, it just makes perfect sense. And I don't disagree with you either. I didn't acknowledge it last week, but I'm acknowledging it this week. I definitely feel like Solo Sikoa is criminally underrated. He is doing really great work. And I think part of the problem and the reason why he's underrated is also part of the reason why I feel like this storyline that I pitched works. Because his underrated status is a product of the bloodline. It's a product of the bloodline. The fact that his role outside of the bloodline after Roman left was taking up the Ula Fala and being the next tribal chief in Bloodline 2.0, right? Nobody looks at the band 2.0 and thinks, yeah, this is as good as the original. And so I think because of that, he's been marred by that. And then, of course, he was marred by being drugged down by endless tag team feud after endless tag team feud, where he was the best thing in these factions.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about that anymore.
No, we don't. But I think that it can work in his favor because it does give him credibility, right? It does give him credibility, and it does give him weight behind some of the things that he says when he's like, I'm going to wage war against Roman, and I'm going to wage war against the Usos, because I waged war against the Wyatts. I waged war against, who are they feuding with for a long time before the Wyatts?
Who?
The MFTs.
I don't know if they were. Were they? Didn't they just get involved with the Wyatts?
No, I feel like they were after the Bloodline versus Bloodline feud, where they became MFT. They were feuding with so Jacob broke away from them. And then it was the long feud between Jacob and Solo before Jacob got called up into bigger feuds with Drew. And then it rolled right into the Wyatt 6 stuff, right? It seemed like they were stuck in that merry-go-round forever. But I think it leads to Solo's credibility, because when he says, I'm going to wage war, yeah, he's going to go to war, and he's not going to let it up until he gets what he wants, or until somebody takes the lantern from him and gives it back, because this is killing the family. You know what I mean? So he'll take it there. And I think that leads credibility to his status in this story. But yeah, no, I don't think there's much else to really speak on. Royce Keys destroyed another person.
Soul was great with Becky. She really was.
Yes, she was. Yes, she
And that's
was.
not always a great place to or not great, but like it's hard to step up to Becky's level immediately, and she held her own.
Agreed. I mean, look, they're selling Soul like a blue chip prospect, and I rightfully so. She is an incredible talent. Seeing her in that promo with Becky, though, made me definitely feel like, okay, let's take a closer look at her and see what she can do blow for blow on the microphone with Becky. Because if she can go with Becky on the microphone and this not become stale or repetitive, we got something here. You know what I mean? We really got something here. Because that's been the kind of the tail of the tape, right? With Becky and some of the feuds that she's had as of late. You've had some people who have been really promising. And then it's like as the feud drags on,
Yeah.
They're not able to keep up with Becky. And, if Soul can prove that she can keep up with Becky in her own way, yeah, you got something there. You can branch her off and have her be the strong shoulders that you carry a feud on. And that's what you need to have, next generation talent be transcended. But yeah, I think that is about it. We've gone through our predictions. Skeener, any takeaways from this week in professional wrestling from Friday to Monday and anything inside or outside the squared circle?
Just, I mean, it's nothing I haven't said before, but don't suck the fun out of this stuff for you. If you didn't enjoy the gingerbread man stuff, I don't know what to tell you, I guess, because that was the most enjoyable wrestling thing of the week for me.
I agree. And honestly, I'm going to second that. I wouldn't doubt at all that if some of the people on the Bleacher Report heard that harebrained theory that I just threw out there, they'd be all over themselves with, oh, that doesn't make any sense. And why would WWE do that? Listen, man, I threw that out there because it's fun. It's fun.
I don't know. I think they would hear that. And then if that doesn't happen on Sunday, they'll just be pissed and say WWE sucks.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Look, just enjoy professional wrestling. If you can't enjoy it, right? A, don't suck the fun out of it for other people, and two, reevaluate your life choices because, I can't imagine continuing to do this podcast if I didn't enjoy it. I couldn't imagine continuing to do something that I didn't enjoy unless, of course, it's just a job, and if it's just a job, say as much. Just come on and say, hey, it's my job to cover professional wrestling. Lead with that caveat so that all of the things that you say don't just come across as like grumpy old dudes that long for the old days of New Japan and, 5-star matches in the Tokyo Dome. But, that's just our take from these humble guys over here in this velvet covered lounge that we call the Lariat. Skeener, please let everyone know where they can catch us each and every week and this Saturday, because it is a PLE. Let them know where they can come hang out with us, brother.
The Lariat Lounge, this podcast, we're coming at you once a week, every week. Find us on YouTube. That's where we're going to be this Saturday at 6 Eastern for our Backlash live stream. Search the Lariat Lounge on YouTube. You'll find us. You'll find all the episodes, video and audio format, all the old episodes, all our other content. That's where it is. The Lariat Lounge on YouTube. Give us a follow over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. If you follow us, a story will go up Saturday when we go live. Give you a link, get you right to the stream. DMs are open. The podcast goes up in audio format still every week. All your favorite platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your shows, we're there. Get you some merch at ProWrestlingTees.com. We don't have our own site yet, maybe one day. But for now, Pro Wrestling Tees is making our shirts. They're great. ProWrestlingTees.com/The Lariat Lounge. 6 designs now, a couple more in the works. Big big news dropping earlier in this show if you missed it about what the design may be. So go back and check that out if you missed it. And as always, feel free to send us an email at thelariatlounge@gmail.com.
Guys, we really, really do appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us each and every week. Skeener and I get together and do this because we enjoy each other's company, and we love to do this. And we love to share our thoughts about the world of professional wrestling and all the things that are fun and great about it with each and every one of you. I look forward to seeing all of your shining faces on Saturday for Backlash Tampa. Put your pizza orders in now. Make sure you check the boxes and make sure that the pizza is in it, because I've seen some crazy stuff as of late with regards to pizza deliveries. And the craziest thing I saw before this episode aired, I have never in my life, that box was so clean.
Yeah, they just pulled a brand new box out.
That is the nuttiest thing. And I meant to say that earlier in the episode. Skeener sends me a text. We were talking about his trip to Japan and how he may not be able to get pizza over there, so he's been trying to get his fill while he's here in the States. I told him, hey, you may be able to get pizza over there. It may have some unique ingredients to it, but it'll still be pizza. He showed me the last pizza that he had to get prepared for his trip to Japan. He sent me a video. I click on the video. He's holding a Papa John's box. He opens the Papa John's box, and you know what's in there? Nothing. Not a single slice of pizza. I thought he ate
Not a single slice of nothing.
I thought he ate the pizza until I realized how clean the box was.
No, there was nothing ever in that box.
How
they
does
folded
that happen?
box up and sent it out to me.
How does that happen?
Don't
There
know.
are so many points where a human being who works in a pizza restaurant would pick up a box and recognize that there's nothing
That
in it.
nothing's in there. Yeah.
How does that happen? That is beyond me. I am not someone who would call places and complain, but that, sir, I would have complained that day.
Yeah, I sent an email, so I got some credit for it.
Oh, no,
thankfully,
they gave you credits for it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
but it doesn't make up for the immeasurable sadness last night when I didn't have my meal, didn't have my pizza.
Oh, dude,
Just
look.
had a box.
I get it. I get that. My wife ordered some cosmetic products from Target the other day, right? And she ordered it through Instacart, right? So they filled the Instacart order. When they delivered the order, I picked it up from the door. I took it upstairs, gave her stuff. She comes out of the bedroom like 2 minutes later, pissed off. I'm like, what's wrong? She shows me the product that they gave her, right? She ordered this like facial cream stuff. They gave her electrolyte powder.
Close.
How do you make that mistake? Who went in there and saw the order and was like, okay, they want some facial cream. Yeah, this electrolyte powder is it. And put it in the cart and delivered it. And checked off, was like, got it. Blows my mind. The caliber of people that are working in these establishments. Don't know. But I hope that your pizza order this Saturday is better than Skeener's was this week. Skeener may need to go pick up his pizza.
Yeah, I hope my pizza order is better.
You may need to go pick it up so that you can, proof of
Feel the
product
box
before you
at
walk
least.
out of the store. But we're going to be eating pizza together. We're going to be enjoying Backlash. I cannot wait to hang out with you all, see what transpires this weekend so we can get on to Monday and see these stories move forward. I cannot wait to hang out with you guys. And listen, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, if you're watching on YouTube and you like what you're watching, subscribe or leave us a like rating wherever you are listening. It is a small thing for you, but for us, it means the world. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. We're about to cross 1,000 unique downloads, so celebrate that with us with a listen. We would love to have you around. From your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. Please watch yourself on the way out.